So basically, as you see, cash is open. We have this really wide IB. So before you even start looking at price action, you need to kind of be wary as to what's going to be going on in a really wide IB after we just open drived, and you know, like the market's still trying to find its actual kind of base to move away from, right? So it was between 65s and 63s. I wanted to start looking to scale the position in, right? And kind of as you saw the market just kind of fluttered down from 67s down to 65s. And nothing's really kind of gone through in terms of volume, in terms of price, sort of the actual, like some of the notes I made. So like, for example, there, if you just see, I think we haven't seen a clip bigger than like that sort of size, clip down and then go offered. So like for any kind of pattern or play, especially how, you know, ones that I look for, you want to see actually like aggressive initiative. Like when you're just seeing the market flutter down, like you need to be really wary of having something in the back of your mind kind of taking control, which I did, sort of thing. So there's nothing really to lean on in the first few minutes, you know, other than the fact that I want to be short below 64s, 63s, 65s, this kind of area, right? So if you just, as you can see, like the book is really still as well. And you see again, look at the size of what the clips were actually going through at market. So we had 50 lots lift the market, and then we had like another 30 lots trading 63s, all right? And bear in mind, obviously all my focus is on this area, right? And I can tell you I'm not really paying attention, right? So you had 200 lots clip into 63s and go offered, right? So even in this kind of scenario, there isn't really the volume and size. See, and then you see there, so basically, we had 160 lots trade 63s, it goes offered, and then you had another 100 lots clip down and hit offer 62s, right? So, and I'm already trying to get in the market. I shouldn't even be thinking about interacting with this market because we basically drifted from 67s to 61s and maybe less than 1,000 contracts. There's nothing in the market there for you to kind of lean on, in my opinion, right? And if you are, say, you're trying to define your risk for a tick and your entry for a tick, right, which is how I kind of trade, there's nothing in this area, and then you didn't see what even traded down 61s and it just goes offered. So for all you know, and as you kind of see, it turns into like really flippy price action, and it's not kind of, you can't get a gauge on it, right? And all I'm trying to do in how I trade is kind of like lean on pivots in the ladder, like in accordance to my pattern plays and everything, right? So even so now you're seeing 237 lots trade into 60s, and notice how it kind of just goes bid, holds up again. Notice the small uptick. So there's only been a bit of volume traded at 60s, okay? Again, you have another 163 lots trade down 60s, goes offered, right? So for me going forward, this is kind of an area I'm going to be looking to pay attention to. If we do say maybe get a bit of a flick up, and then we do start to accumulate again. So you can see 60s, this is like the first area of the price ladder we're actually seeing someone trade. And then you notice how on 61s, we traded 63 lots, goes bid straight away. So it gives you more reinforcement that there's actually no sort of, you know, accumulative seller or even aggressive seller or even like an aggressive buyer, right? All you've seen is someone at 60s accumulate a load of contracts, and all it took was 63 contracts to take a bid, right? So you can't, you know, if you're really focused on this being pure, and then you see how it goes bid again. So then again, so look what we just done. We just basically gone from 60s to 63s on maybe like 100 contracts, 200 contracts, and where the most amount of size was taken was 60s, where he took about, you know, 500 odd lots. So even if, for me, just to then try and just get short in this area, it's kind of stupid trading. It's not like, it doesn't make sense. There's nothing for you to lean on, right? Even if it is just to like scale in, you know, with a small clip or whatever you're trying to do and build a position, right? So now that I have now got a position on, it kind of then goes ahead to change the way you view things, right? So you've now seen 200 lots clip down 63s, it goes offered, right? So this is now where I'm trying to get a feel for the price action. Notice how little trades in, 38 lots trading into 2s, and then 15 lots trading into 1s. Okay, and then notice we have 52 lots lift 2s, it goes bid. And now instantly I want to sell more, right? I don't know why I want to sell more, because there's nothing really there for me to gain on that. I mean, there's only been, so we have someone now lift another 200 contracts into there. Notice how no one's sold a clip into 61s, right? So I'm just going purely off the premise that this is the place I want to be in. There's someone absorbing here or whatever after we've just seen someone absorb a load of 60s. If anything, this is more like a flipper, right? There's no kind of, look again, 60 lots trade down to 61s. Okay, 200 lots trade down to 61s now. Okay, 300 lots trade down to 61s. Notice how still everything is, right? Notice how the book is like really still. There's no kind of like, this isn't the type of auctioning environment you want to see for any type of momentum, like positional play. of like, you know, pick up in volume. There just isn't that, right? And you can just see how from where we've gone to in this small area, we haven't really moved whatsoever, right? Another thing which I was kind of looking at as well, which I was going to say, I think it's a bit later, but I'll show you in a minute. So again, and then this is something like, once you have something in your mind of how it should trade out, it kind of then, as you can see, it kind of just sits like this, and it sucks you into thinking more that you should do this. So I'm going to speed it up a little bit, because it's basically the same price action in this small area. What I'm trying to get across to you guys is like, you need to know the type of price action you're looking for, but then also like be true to what you're seeing. Like I wasn't being true, and as you can just see, like it's just floating around, flicking around. There's no real size being traded. Any real size that is being traded, it's just kind of like, it's just being accumulated in the 3-tick range, right? There's no one hitting through 60s and then it's accumulating on the other side, or you can't get a feel for like who's actually in the market pushing it around, because there isn't really anyone pushing it around. There's a 3-tick range here just being kind of flipped back and forth. But funnily enough, it's below my area I want to be short, right? So for me, it's kind of a big deal. I need to be interested. I need to be involved in this area because I need to get the best price and I can't miss out, right? Whereas in reality, what I should have been doing is kind of like, you know, and notice how we go 41 lots lift, 78 lots lift, and 100 lots lift. And notice how it's just all squeezed up, right? Okay? And I don't know if you saw that I tried to scale out with like a 1 lot, which is ridiculous, because if you're going to scale in with whatever you're scaling in with, you can't be looking to pay up with like that smaller size, in my opinion, right? So, but then again, I stay in, right? Because actually, no, 65, 62, 63s was the area I want to be short in. I'm now looking for that kind of same sort of price action, you know, something to lean on in this area so I can kind of have some conviction, right? I mean, like I said, I was kind of expecting to get squeezed, but I never really had any, but I was just so focused on a play, right? I wasn't focused on the price action at the time. And now you see I'm starting to pay a bit more, okay? And you can see how aggressive the squeeze is, because there was nothing to lean on in here, right? So when it just goes bid over, bid over, bid over, people like me, anyone else, I don't know, who are seeing the same thing or trying to do whatever, they're all trapped, you know, in this small area and it's just, and you're inside a wide OB. You know, everything in this environment is kind of leaning on, you know, for it to be a bit tricky, right? And you have to also be disciplined in saying what you're seeing, okay? So now you pay up of half, right? You get out of some. And you okay, right, okay, there's going to be a bit of a squeeze on this play. Oh, okay, the trade is for a lot bigger time frame move. You know, it should, you know, I'm looking to take however many ticks out the market, so I'm going to get squeezed a little bit in this area, right? So then you wait for it to come back, and you're looking to reevaluate how it's trading again. So again, the 65, 63 area. Sorry if this is like really repetitive, but this is literally how I go through executing my trades, and it's kind of like, this is what I was doing last night in reviewing what I wrote down and everything. So like, and kind of running through my mindset of how I was executing this trade. Notice again how when we floated up, right, we floated up on nothing. It just kind of just went fluttered up. There was no real size, and now we've kind of fluttered back down again. Okay, there's nothing in this which is just giving you information. There's nothing which has stood out or should stand out to you, you know, for any kind of information. Like, there's nothing new. There's nothing that's, you know, which you haven't seen already. It's just literally gone from 60s to 68s. On no volume, and now we're returning back down to the area where I want to be interested in again, okay? And now notice again how small the clip sizes are going through at this time, okay? So notice the minute I see the clip down, such a classic trait of like when the bunds, so you see how it just went clip down, right? It clipped down, but you didn't see anything trade into it. It just went 151 lots down and went off it, okay? Like for me, I don't, especially when it's so quiet, it's very hard to like, you shouldn't just leave offers in there like that, purely because you've just seen it clip down on nothing. You didn't actually see it get traded out. Now I'm willing to sell into 100 lot into twos, 300 lot into twos. So now I'm going to sell into this after you can. I mean, if there was a big clip in 63s, and you can notice how aggressive I'm getting now, trying to sell this area, and I'm going to tell you for a fact there was nothing in there which you should have been this aggressive on. It's stupid. Like, if you were to see maybe this similar sort of size accumulating at threes, and then you had that sort of clip down, well then yeah, you know, you could maybe do that. But you know, the biggest piece of information I think you could take from this, watching this small clip of trying to get short the bund for the move that we had today, right, is you notice that we haven't gone below 60s once since we saw that guy take 700 lots or whatever.